Hi everyone, this is Jason Zach from Nathaniel School of Music. In this tutorial, or in this talk rather, I'm going to give you some ideas or strategies or tips or insights to respect music theory and ear training a lot more. And when you respect these two aspects of music, or chapters or subjects of music, a lot more, you can use them a bit better. And I'll also give you tips to make your practice sessions a lot more efficient and hopefully easier. And through the talk, I'm hopefully give you a few more insights or perspectives which have helped me along my career. So first, a little bit about my background, so to speak. I'm not much of a trained musician. I haven't done too many music exams. In fact, I haven't really done them, or maybe I've done one or two, and it was when I was really young, maybe 8 or 10 years old. I don't even remember. And luckily for me, both my grandparents, or both sides of the family, were very musically inclined and in different ways. My mom's dad was more of a Western classical person, and he conducted choirs, orchestras, was a piano player, teacher, and so on. My mom is and continues to this day, and so am I guess. And my dad's dad, my other granddad, he was an AIR recording artist. He played the violin, invented an instrument, and a lot of other things along the way. So I've been, in a sense, very blessed to have been born in this sort of a family. So I never found the need to learn music traditionally. It was just in school, you already seem to have some skills and you executed with your school friends around you. And in my case, there were a lot of elder musicians who kind of took me on board and play with their bands, accompany their choirs, and join their a cappella groups. And it was always more experienced people, which I think was also a benefit for me. So most of my learning, you could say, happened on the road. And here's what I've learned. When I started teaching music, the first thing I told myself was, I don't want to teach what I don't know. So in other words, I have to teach something that I have used in my, because I had composed music for about 7 or 8 years, almost a decade, before I got into teaching. I had not taught a single student until I'd actually toured across the country, played in front of a lot of people at events, festivals, and famous locations. Also recorded music with a lot of artists, did ad jingles, some movie stuff and whatnot, and then got into teaching. So I figured I have to do something which I know. And initially there was a lot of apprehension, because what if I teach, I fail to teach all the stuff that actually helps people, which are there in these tried and tested courses. So as a non-schooled musician, a few perspectives that might help you. The first thing I'd like to tell you would be, when it comes to theory and ear training, people say, "Sir, how do I train my ears?" Or people would say, "How can you teach me music theory if you're not teaching in the ABRSM or the Trinity Board syllabus?" Or, why should I even bother wasting my time learning music theory when all songs are available on the internet? You can just watch a guy playing it with this, visual medium, and it's slowed down, multiple camera angles. Who needs theory to be like? Why? You have apps also which give you the chord, like Moises and the Song Master Pro will literally tell you this is the chord. And to be honest, these apps are getting scary. They're really good. They're probably putting us out of a job. Maybe, who knows? So the first thing I address, or have been addressing at least the past decade of teaching with students, is music theory and ear training are connected, and they are pretty much the same thing. It's sort of like you're going into a camp, or you're going into the wilderness, and a leopard is probably about to attack you. The instinct for that leopard about to attack you, you having that instinct, knowing, oh yeah, there is a predator about to fight with me, is ear training. You have to have the instinct to know that, hey, it's that chord, it's that scale. But then, just because you have the instinct for it doesn't mean you're going to fight that predator. You need to have the technique for it. You need to have the physical fitness to combat that animal or run away or, I don't know, protect yourself physically. So that will be your instrument technique. So you have to also see if you have the tools to actually execute what you just heard or what you just felt, what you just realized in the song or the piece of music around you. And last but not least, music theory would basically be the backpack or all the tools that you carry with you, that you have trained over the years and prepared yourself with ear training, by the way. Because remember, ear training is instinct and music theory is preparation. It's what's in that backpack. So when something comes at you, you immediately, it's almost like a mosquito is all about to bite you, and you kind of know and you shoo it off. So that's the instinct. But the skill to do it is music theory. And music theory is also not just the rules and regulations of music, as some people brand it out to be. What is chord theory? What are the rules of harmonizing chords in a major scale? Well, it just so happens that the major scale is a scale. It's one out of so many scales. In Carnatic music itself, we have 72 Melakarta ragas. So the major scale is one of the pack of them, so to speak. So in the major scale, it just so happens that there are 7 triads, for which the 1, 4, 5 are major, 2, 3, 6 are minor, 7 is diminished. But that's a perspective of looking at the scale where you build it in thirds. So for example, in G, that's a third, that's a fifth, but together they are 2/3. So you get major, 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 because they all have the same sound. So if you compare G B D with C E G, D F sharp A, they're all kind of the same. But then you have to distinguish them further by not their emotion or their sound quality, but in terms of their function. Does this chord feel stable in the ecosystem of G major scale? No, it doesn't. It feels like it wants to go home to G. So that's dominant chords going to tonic. So if ever you're learning a music theory concept like a dominant resolving to tonic, you have to hear it and you have to know what is actually going on. There's no point studying it if you don't know that a 5 Maga, it's a magnet chord. It just wants to lock to that surface, right? So music theory and ear training need to be combined, and your ears will get better when you know what you should hear for. And your music theory will definitely get better if you know, because in your brain it's sort of like a librarian who's inside you. It's sort of like your subconscious who's adding these books as and when they come to you into the bookshelf. And if it's not given to that librarian who's like an angry librarian, she's not going to bother doing anything with that useless set of information. It's basically cluttered information. So to declutter what you hear, you need music theory. So both of them need to work with each other. The ear training, like I said, is the instinct, and music theory is the preparation. It is what it is, so to speak. So ear training, like I said, is the instinct, and music theory is basically you're explaining what you just heard. So they have to go together. They have to go hand in hand. And music theory, the good thing about it is it creates that template. Like I told you, it's like getting your librarian or requesting that thing inside your head to move it neatly to a bookshelf and clean it daily, regularly. That basically, I just say you're respecting what has come to you. You're accepting it properly. You're analyzing it. You're saying, okay, this is that kind of scale. These are the modes of the major scale. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian, as you might know. These are the modes of the melodic minor scale, harmonic minor scale. So slowly it kind of gets divided. And once it does get divided, your ears will have to still find them in songs. And these days, with YouTube, with apps, it's so easy. You can literally type songs that use the melodic minor scale. You're going to get a lot of content creators who will actually break down a lesson showing you all the songs which have the melodic minor scale. Or you can go to my riff website and filter it, and you, in that filter, you can go harmonic minor, whichever minor, or whichever mode, Dorian, Phrygian, it's all there. As some of you know, I do these riffs which are released on the channel. So the ear gets better with theory and vice versa. Now coming to what is music, what does music notation have to do with any of this? Okay, now the styles of now the methods of consuming music notation or using music notation, I would imagine, can be you read it and you play it, whatever, however you wish to play it on your principal instrument, but you're reading the thing. In some cases it's a bit complex, like in, if you're doing pipe organ, you'll have to read the treble clef, which will be two notes, soprano and alto. The bass clef would be another two notes, tenor and bass, and then you'll have another thing to read, which is what your foot is doing, your pedal, right? So that's tough. As a violin player, you'll probably just read the one clef. Then depending on your instrument, you'll have to read a certain clef, like alto for alto sax or alto instruments. Maybe the viola would read the alto clef, something else would read the tenor clef, and so on and so forth. And some instruments are not tuned also, so you have to figure all that out. So notation in 2025, in this day and age, seems to be the thing that draws us to playing music. You read it and play it. If you don't have it, there's nothing you can possibly do. You can't do anything as a musician. I completely disagree with that, because even with notation, you can read it and sing what you have just read. This is a type of music notation practice called sight singing, which singers practice in their workouts. How will a singer read and play? There is nothing to play. They can only read and sing. So when you sight sing, it's going to improve your voice, your vocal ability, as well as your interval knowledge and your real world understanding of pitches and rhythm as well. Another way to use music notation is just as rhythm. You read rhythm data, you can get rhythm books on just rhythm notation and look at it, clap it, and then execute it. And reading rhythms is very inspiring because you're not conforming to a specific pitch. Instead, you're just reading a rhythm, and whatever that rhythm might be, it becomes a melody. It could become a chord arpeggio pattern. It could become a bass line, or whatever it needs to be. And people forget that the most important use case of notation is actually transcription, which it's tough to teach on a YouTube portal or most places, because we are not allowed to play the original song on YouTube. The video itself gets banned. So if I'm teaching you a Coldplay song, well, I have to teach you the Coldplay, which is why you should probably consider our music factory classes, where we do transcription of great music once a week in our school. These are live online lessons. You'll get the recording and so on. So join Music Factory. It's fun. And music transcription, what is it? It's basically you hear the thing and you write it down. Hear the music. It can be any music. It could be a triangle part in a huge 80-piece orchestra, and you're just notating what that triangle is doing. Or you're notating the kick drum of a drum kit. Or you're notating the left hand of the piano. Or you're notating the melody of the flute. Or you're notating the vocal line of the bridge of the song, or whatever it might be. And when we transcribe, we can transcribe the harmony, the chords, the melody, and the rhythm. We have the opportunity to transcribe both, right? we have the opportunity to transcribe all the three departments of music, right? So transcription is very, very important, because transcription makes sure that you're on point when it comes to both your theory and your ear training. And after you've written it down, you have a sure shot, confident way to execute it on your principal instrument. Because whatever you play, you have the backbone, or you have the confidence that all this music is sort of moving through your veins. It's in the blood, so to speak. That's when you feel very invested with the song. This is very different than the parrot kind of learning, where a teacher says sing this and you sing that, or a YouTuber says play this, move this finger under that finger, or you get to see it so well that it's all vision. You have to think, this field or this art form is for what? Is it for this or that? You have to make that decision. So ear training, transcription is very, very important. And the other thing is music education in general. Why do we have to have this kind of music education and then that other kind of music education? Ultimately, aren't they all aiming to teach you the three elements of music? Pitch, some manipulation of pitch, that would be melody and harmony; time, rhythm, because everything needs strict time. Time signatures are there in all parts of the world, whether we even bother writing it. Like in India, we don't even write this stuff down, we just speak it. And I would imagine in places like Africa and more of the Eastern nations, it would be more just natural. You don't write down anything. While with Western music, there's always notation. So the point I'm trying to make is, in 2025, why should we say I'm studying Western music or Indian music or Hindustani or Carnatic? Why can't we just absorb whatever we can? Because it's so easy. We don't have to spend for books. We can just watch YouTube, or even the books can be downloaded online, or they're super cheap compared to back in the day. I'm sure a lot of you will agree. So information is always accessible, and you can listen to any song from any culture in any language right now just for free. You can just go and type it and it's yours. You can just hear it. And we don't even own music these days. It's a weird thing to even say, I own this song, I bought this album, I own this many albums. I don't know if anyone can even say that in today's day and age. Anyway, so music education needs to be questioned. Maybe the reason you want to do it is to upskill yourself, or to have a proper goal, or to motivate, or to push yourself further. But in a lot of other cases, it can actually be limiting, because they'll give you about 6 months or 1 year to perhaps study something which you can learn in 1 month. And not only that, the stuff you actually study for that exam, let's say you study a bunch of Italian terms. Let's say, what does PP mean, or what does MF mean? Now, is that music theory? Does that help you prepare for a leopard attack, so to speak, if you know the meaning of that word? In other words, you're playing music ultimately for people who are non-musicians. 99% of all humans here don't even play music. So who are we kidding? We are playing music for the folks out there who want to move their body, who want to sing, and who want to feel a certain emotion or a connection with you as an artist. So I don't know if remembering the full form of certain words, symbols, and doing that in an exam, ticking, all of these weird questions, if they'll ever be useful in the real world, so to speak. So I'm not against music education. I'm only questioning it. I'm only saying it could perhaps improve. There could be a version 2, version 3 of all this. There could be a completely left wing, a different kind of system to make things happen. Maybe contemporary music, or which is already there, or jazz music is also there. So when you study jazz music theory or contemporary music theory, in some cases it's a lot more advanced than Western classical theory, which we learn in these grade exams. And that I feel is weird, because shouldn't the music exploration of a Bach, Chopin, a Beethoven, shouldn't, like, they use insanely difficult concepts like voice leading, counterpoint harmony. Shouldn't that be way more difficult, or at least on par as what some of the other systems are teaching? Again, I'm just questioning it. And just a couple of things regarding how you can improve this music theory and ear training mindset. First of all, music theory could also, you could remove the word theory and just write it as music history instead of music theory. Because what is music theory? You learn some stuff, but you're learning it because someone in the past either discovered it, or lots of people ended up hearing a group of musicians who ended up doing that thing, or that seemed to work, or that seemed to attach itself to a huge community of music lovers. And because of that, a lot of the scholars, so to speak, would wanted to template that and learn it. Oh, lot of musicians seem to compose on the major scale. Okay, that's our main ecosystem. But not every composer uses C, which again, in a lot of the theory textbooks, we start with C, but there are 12 notes in music. So music theory is more the study of great artists, past, present, and even future, because we are going to keep having musicians come and go, but their work will remain. Their work will always be there. And now with the internet, with recording technology, it's just going to always be there, isn't it? So it's a great time for music lovers and musicians to exist, because we have all the old stuff from the oldest century possible where music started to, and it's just going to go on and on. It's just going to sound better. It's going to get more sophisticated if we take the effort to find it and understand it. So with music history, you realize that if you like a specific kind of music, Bollywood, let's say, you might also realize that a lot of old Bollywood songs are kind of ripped off from a lot of the old American jazz standards. Like Louis Armstrong has Give Me a Kiss to Build a Dream on, and it's very similar to this one. Right? So if you think about it, if you know the history, then you can actually find Louis Armstrong and find out what an amazing musician he is. And if you're a fan of Ilaiyaraaja, for example, you'll find that he's a huge Bach fan. In fact, he's very influenced by Bach in his music. And for a person who listens to only Bach and then hears Ilaiyaraaja, it'll seem, wow, this is amazing for a modern day composer. And what about the Beatles? Almost every artist since the Beatles has been influenced by the Beatles, because A, they've written so many songs, and B, there's so much variety in those songs. There's diatonic music, there's non-diatonic, there's secondary dominance, there's counterpoint harmony, there's rhythmic variations, odd time signatures, great phrasing. Everything is there with the Beatles. So whoever you like today, you should probably say or ask them what they like, or figure out from their bio or their interviews what do they actually like. A.R. Rahman played in a rock band, so that's good to know. We need to know what songs he covered or composed back in the day. So figure out, so definitely understand music history. And music history is also similar to music culture. What went through, what was going through the minds of those artists when they ended up making such music. How did blues music get built? How did a Bulgarian dance song get built? How did flamenco music come about? It's all historical. There's a lot of historical information that you have to use while you learn this stuff. Okay, and the last thing I'd like to leave you with would be, at the end of the day, music is nothing. It just seems like you're applying what Mother Nature has already gifted us with, which is the laws of physics and just basic simple maths. Maths can answer almost every rhythmic puzzle that you might have in music. Maths can form any scale. Maths can explain any harmony. and physics will give you that. And the reason for a major chord to sound happy is literally because of how the waveforms phase with each other, right? And the reason why a minor major seventh chord sounds very mysterious and James Bond like, it's the waveforms are doing something with each other. So whether we like it or not, it's good to look at all of the things we are learning from a very wholesome perspective, and that can be helped when you understand the maths behind it. You literally say the beat is divided into three. I can play or not play in those three containers. So that becomes binary, to play or not to play. So that's 2 to the power 3. That's 8 rhythm possibilities. Rather than what someone feeds you in a book. You can do the math on your own and you'll get way more options than what any book will have, right? So that's my final thought. Try to use maths as much as possible. Understand how sonic things work in nature, because Mother Nature has gifted us this art form. So we owe it to at least understand it a little bit here and there. So study a bit of sound, study a bit about the timbre of instruments, the timbre, distinguish between how a violin playing the same middle C sounds very different than a flute playing the same middle C. The waveforms are very different. So thanks a ton for sticking around. If you've watched this video for so long, thank you, and do share it around. That'll be great. Leave us a comment with stuff that interests you, which you'd like me to cover, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You can hit that subscribe, turn on the bell, and consider supporting us on our Patreon. Thanks a ton for watching the lesson. Cheers.